Hello, hello, and welcome to your first reading of 2021. Who is excited to just tap in to the new? I know I am, that's for sure. And speaking of new, this month we're going to do something a little bit different. So I know usually we go down the route of star signs, reading for your zodiac, that kind of thing. But today, because of my special guest, we are going to focus on human designs. So if you do not know your human design type, then head to the description box. I'll put a link in there for you to find out. And then check out the timestamp for your type and we'll get your reading. So before we get into all of that magic, Natalie, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Daire, so much for welcoming me on today to your channel. My name is Natalee. I am at The Peaceful Badass on Instagram. I am an NLP certified coach that bridges human design so that way I can help you just really embody what your soul came to do on this planet and really live in your design. It's really, really that simple. And going through this process to help you really just achieve success in the way you were meant to experience success. So I'm really excited to provide this guidance. And I mean, what better time to do this than in the beginning of the year, January 2021. I think we all need some messages from guidance, and I cannot wait to give you guys some tidbits for your human design.
So first up, we are going to pull some cards for the generators. So Natalie, take it away.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and see what our generators guidance is for January 2021. So I'm using The Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. So if you guys know Colette, you know that she is just really great art. Wow. So we got some really interesting cards here. So we first have the flexible card in reverse. Okay. So we have flexible. So, what I'm picking up from this card is, be willing to shift in those areas that you have been resisting a shift, right? Being flexible. And I know that Daire knows this to be true. When you're flexible, you win the game, right? The game of life. The person who's the most flexible wins the game. So I feel like you may be having some resistance in some changes, but these changes, this is really beautiful. This card has like literally like the person that's flexible has a rose on their head. The minute that you're flexible, you will begin to sprout a beautiful garden of possibility. So ask yourself, what is it that you are being challenged in to be flexible in? Because that's literally going to lead you to your garden. The third card, and I think it really has, there's a really big theme here, is the orphaned card. Okay. And this looks like it's like a woman in like a nest, right? So what I'm channeling from this is that when you acquire this flexibility, you need some time in solitude, really in solitude, to really get into a space of clarity, because the next card goes beautifully with this, which is clean it up, right? So these cards are really asking you to be in solitude, clean up that sticky gunky stuff that is in your mind, that is keeping you from being flexible, so that again you can come to this place where you are sprouting a garden of of possibility. And as a generator, you guys are used to just going, and a lot of distractions sometimes can happen, or you don't focus, right? And I'm really getting from this is that this is the time for you to take a breather, focus one thing at a time. And I'm really getting time blocking for you guys. I'm not sure why, like time blocking is just really coming in for me. And so allow yourself to do those things that you have to do, but your shiny object syndrome, focus on it, get into solitude, clean it up, clean your calendar, clean up your agenda, and that garden is just going to sprout for you in January 2021.
So it's really interesting that you pulled those cards because they align really nicely with the ones that I've pulled. So first up, we have the Queen of Cups in reverse. And typically the Queen of Cups is all about like really embodying your emotions and feeling them. And I think as generators, it's very easy for you to not do that, which is why it's in reverse. Because you are the workers, you're willing to hustle, you're willing to do what needs to be done. And that often means bypassing what you're actually feeling in the moment. And sometimes you might not even know what you're feeling in the moment because you're so used to just not feeling it. you can power through with the best of them, and that is an amazing quality at times. And you also get to experience the full range of human emotions, because that is where you will find like your power, your sense of alignment, and all of those really essential things. So if you are coming back fresh for the new year, then I really, really want to encourage you to prioritize feeling your feelings. And even if it's just a matter of noticing them, if it's about like pausing for a second, 1 second throughout the day and being like, this is what I'm feeling right now. You don't even need to do anything with it, just acknowledge that the feeling is there. And then the next card that came up is the Ace of Swords. Now, to me, this has like Excalibur vibes. It looks like it's emerging from the lake. And I feel like that's very much the feeling, like there's this sense of emergence and stepping into something new. And it's very fiery. It's like, it's almost like a sense of rebirth, like you're the phoenix stepping out of the flames. And that is what is possible for you when you are willing to like take a breather, prioritize how you're actually feeling about things, because that's when you get to be fully aligned. Because there are two options really. You can keep on just like working and working and working, or you can get really specific about, like Natalee said, your focus, what you want to really be doing, what really feels aligned, and prioritize that. And then the third card, which I pulled from a different deck, is the Carnelian card, which is all about creativity. So there's a lot of sacrally stuff there going on. So it's about feeding your creativity, again, feeling your feelings. It's very like the emotional center is the sacrum. So there's a big theme here about like feeling stuff and not just doing. That you can be and do and feel all at the same time. You don't have to choose just the work, because it might seem like on the surface that's the thing that is going to help you see success, but actually you're a whole person before you are a business owner, and that means acknowledging the different parts of yourself. So pay attention. Okay, so now let's move on to our manifesting generators.
Ooh, actually, I just had a card fall, so that's perfect. So let's see, how many cards do we have? Okay, so we have one card here. Very interesting. What do our mani-gens need to know for January 2021? Very good. Very nice. Okay, so the first one that flew out is TikTok, and it's this clock, and it's being held by like this like balloon, like this hot air balloon, right? So what I'm really getting from this is that, you know, and there's like the sands of time that are literally slipping from the hands. What I'm really getting from this is that you need to make a decision. Time is of essence. There is a decision that you need to make, right? And as a mani-gen, you know, you have a little bit of both. You're a little bit of a manifestor, you're a little bit of a generator, right? When your generator kicks in, it kind of just leads you to just like look at other avenues, but you need to make this decision. You need to make a decision that is holding you from going to the next avenue, because this is really good. You literally have two cards that are just like beautiful afterwards. So once you make this decision, this timely decision, all that glitters comes out, and it's literally a pile of gold with these masks. So like I'm getting the sense that like once you make that decision, you're going to derobe this mask that you have. There's a mask on something, and you're going to be literally standing on a pile of glitter, because this decision that you make is going to give you the answer that you've been wanting. That glitter holds an answer, and it's the next one is fantastic. It's message in a bottle, right? So this message in a bottle is it's all interconnected. You know, once you make this decision, you derobe that mask, and that message, that answer you've been looking for, that, you know, it's been floating around in cyberspace, floating around, so to speak, you're getting that answer. So make that decision, make that choice. It is timely. I really highly encourage you to, use your words to, ask guidance, ask spirit, what is my intuition guiding me to make this decision? Because as soon as you make that decision, the answers are literally amazing. They're freaking glittery gold. and it'll be like you just discovered something new, but it's really going to push you forward. So I really encourage the Manny Gens to just take this time and make that timely decision. It could be an answer to an opportunity. It could be a business decision, but you've got to make the decision.
Okay, so it's really funny that you said that about asking guidance, because the first card that I pulled was the Two of Wands, and the immediate thing that popped into my mind was about asking for guidance, because I don't know if you can see it here, but
yes.
David Bowie's ethereal face in the sky, almost like watching over the guy. And the hit that I got right away was that you don't have to know everything, decide everything, figure everything out on your own. You can ask for guidance, and that can, like, guidance can look like different things for different people. It could be like a card reading like this. It could be speaking with a coach. It could be DMing someone on Instagram. It could be chatting with a friend. It could be speaking to a teacher whose group program you're in. Guidance can mean so many different things to so many different people. So I want you to interpret it for yourself. But when it comes to making these decisions for what's next for you, just remember that you do not have to figure it out alone. You don't have to know, you don't have to have all the answers. And then the next card that came up was the Six of Swords in reverse. And the thing that popped out to me straight away is this here. So I'll turn it so you can see it. It's like an embryo growing, or a little fetus, which is a little bit creepy, but it's very much about giving. So it's funny that the theme of time came up. It's like giving yourself the time and giving your ideas the time to really grow, because in my experience, like a lot of my manifesting generator friends and clients, it's when they've decided on something, when they have an idea, it is like go time. And if it doesn't work immediately, they'll lose steam and start doubting themselves, and maybe start beating themselves up and being like, oh, well, maybe I'm just not good enough, or maybe this wasn't a good enough idea, or maybe I'm doing this wrong. And actually, sometimes things just take time. Not everything works at that first try. Sometimes you just need to keep going and tweaking and experimenting, and give yourself the time and grace to do that. Again, like, while asking for guidance and support where you need, just remember, again, that you do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to be adhering to this strict timeline that you might have seen some influencer on Instagram living, because that's not necessarily real life, or that's not your real life. So just be mindful of that. And then this leads beautifully into the final card I pulled, which is, let's see if I can pronounce this right, rhodochrosite, which is a lovely watermelony crystal. And this one is all about knowing your worth. So I think if things do not seem to be happening really quickly, just keep reminding yourself that it is all happening. Everything's happening for you. It's all going to work out. You are doing what needs to be done. You are holding the vision. You are showing up. You are doing all of these things. You are making it happen. And just trust in that. Trust that it's coming. Trust that you can do this, because you can. And just know that everything is working out beautifully. Build that faith in yourself. Okay, now let's move on to manifestors, which is my type. So Natalee, take it away.
This is exciting. So for all of our manifestors, you guys are spurts of energy, right? And that's sacred energy. So I cannot wait to see what guidance has to say for January 2021. So what do our manifestors watching need to know? Just wanted to be together. Okay. So we have the first card, which it literally says not for you. And it is a fortune cookie. It's a fortune cookie. Yes, it's a fortune cookie. And it has the message nope. Okay. And I'm really getting from this is that your time is sacred. Your energy is sacred. Say no when you need to say no. And what's interesting about this card and what I'm getting it is that, it's on a chessboard, but there's also this door, like this like really like beautiful door here. When you say no, and I'm getting that this is just all the people, all the things that really want your energy because you just have some really magical powers, you need to say no to that, because if you don't say no, you're going to find yourself locked in this place of like energy sucking. Again, I'm getting energy vampire. So no, no, it literally says nope, not for you. Abide by your time, okay? And the next card is beautiful. It's in reverse, and I love this because like it's like an extra hug from the universe, and I love 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 this card. So it's a fox looking at the moon, and it's the observer, right? And I'm really just getting this sense that like when you allow yourself to observe the greatness that you have inside, that is just going to explode and people will notice it. So if it's in business, if it's in, in a project that you're working on, observe that magic, that transformation that you give other people. Because when you honor that and when you say, I'm really good at what I do, I am amazing. I am literally a manifester. I am here. I speak the words that I speak and they come to life. This is literally like how we call it like in our industry, that social proof, that proof that like you are bulletproof, like you provide this beautiful transformation. And it really comes from this space of honoring your time and saying no to things that are just like they're not serving you. And the last card is round and round. So what I'm getting from this card is just like you're blossoming into, basically like what I'm getting is like, like the divine codes of humanity, the divine codes of like, being of nature. You are really coming into being part of this divine code, right? And it's just from the simple fact of honoring your time, saying no, and giving yourself that permission to say, I am amazing. Like people literally look at it, get one a telescope to look at me and to see what I provide for the universe, because you're so attuned with divine codes, with divine being, that it's just in your birthright to just go out there and really ask the universe, hey, um, what else can I expand on? So I feel like a lot of expansion is happening for our manifestors. And I think it all starts with honoring that time and those spurts of energy, like just like jumping on it, observe it, feel it, and you're in your divine code, you're in your divine alignment. So I'm really feeling that for manifestors.
Expansion is definitely the theme I'm seeing here as well. So first up, we have the Seven of Cups. And inside this golden ball, there is a baby about to be birthed. And I think that is so apt for the manifestor, because we as a species are the initiators of great ideas. We are the visionaries. We have that spark and then we're like, we need to run with this. And so we put it out there. That's when we are like at our best, when we are most aligned. And often what it can feel like is that, okay, you've had this idea, then you need to focus on the how. Like, how can I make it happen? What work can I do to make this thing happen? And that is not necessarily your job as a manifestor. Your job is to get that divine download and birth it into the world, to put it out there, to inform people of this magic that you've come across and how they can join in with it. It's not about every little step of the labor. Like, you do not need to know how everything is going to work to trust that it is going to work. And that's something that, especially this time of year when you are doing things like setting goals and planning for the year ahead, that you don't need to micromanage your own time and your own productivity or anything like that. Your job is to show up, to lead, to hold the vision, to birth the idea, not to implement every single micro step. Which then brings me on to this card, which is the World in reverse. Now, the world for me always represents potential, and this like great potential that you have to do absolutely anything that you could want. Like, you have this potential to live the way you want to live and work the way you want to work and just show up the way you want to show up and have all of your dreams come true while you do. And when it's in reverse, to me, it usually means that there's either a lack of belief there or a lack of alignment. So you need to sort of be the detective of your own experience and figure out for yourself, what is holding me back from really living out the potential that I have? Is it that I don't have maybe the necessary support in my business? Is it that I don't fully believe that I can do this? Is it that there's something that I need to learn? Is it like, what is it? It's your job to figure that out and then come up with a possible solution for you. Sorry, my dog just said hello there. So you all have, like, everyone watching this has access to so many tools, so many resources. You are surrounded by people online that could help you with literally anything. Like, if you Googled whatever your problem is, you would come up with an article that tells you how to figure things out. So once you've identified what it is that is holding you back, what it is that's keeping you stuck, there are next steps out there. So you can go and find those. And then the third card I pulled was Iolite. And usually this is all about working on your money mindset, but I feel like in this case, it's about receiving in general. So not necessarily just money. It could be money, but it could also be support, love, praise, compliments. It's often very difficult for people to just say thank you when someone gives them something. They always feel like they need to bat it back, or they need to like give something in return to make it feel okay. And actually, sometimes it's okay to just receive. So if you have this amazing idea and you put it out there, but then there's something about you energetically that is like putting a wall up to the receiving, then of course it's not going to work. Of course you're going to feel frustrated. Of course things are going to feel sticky. And that's when you go into this place of like trying to micromanage every single step and figure out the how and really criticize yourself. And that's not helping anybody. So really just pay attention to what is going on for you, notice your own patterns, and then do something about it. Because personal development is all well and good, but more information is not necessarily helpful. We have to do something with that information. So, homework for the manifestors.
Daire, you're like, I have homework to do now.
Doing a lot of journaling. Okay, let's move on to our projectors reading. Natalie, I know this is you, so let's see what we've got for you.
Oh boy, our projectors. So I feel like there is so much to be said. Oh boy, they want to talk. So let's just go ahead and do this. What do our projectors need to know right now for January 2021? Perfect. So this is very interesting. So the first card that we have, and the first thing that comes out to me is the number 33. And threes are just really, really great numbers. And it says chaos and conflict. And it's the zebra that is literally collapsing in pieces, collapsing in pieces. And what I'm feeling is that there is a shell that the projectors are leaving behind. January 2021 is that time to say, hey, the chaos and conflict that I experienced is no longer in me anymore. Allow it to collapse. You don't need to keep it anymore. Because I feel like there are times when you think that you have to carry this weight with you. And this can honestly, all the types and everybody can probably resonate with this. So you feel like you have to keep telling yourself that same story about the chaos and conflict you went to. This is telling you, hey, it's disintegrating. You got to leave it in the past. Okay. You've got to leave it in the past, because the next card, it came out in reverse. And again, this is an extra hug from the universe, and it's peace, right? This is telling me to the projectors, you're worthy of the peace. You are worthy of being in now. You don't need to wait for something good, and I say good in quotes, to happen. You don't need to wait to have this radical life-changing moment, because peace is within you, right? And what I noticed so much about this card is this dove and all of the little hearts that are just like coming out as confetti. When you allow yourself to experience peace, that it exists inside of you, the outpouring of love that will be seen will shine. And as a projector, a lot of people, including myself, are unlearning how to be a generator, right? And you don't need to do anything extra. You don't need to do anything more. Allow yourself to know that you are worthy of peace, right? Because the next card is just gorgeous. And I think it goes really well with this whole thing, is that it's the fates, right? The fates, and it's all of these stars, and she's a beautiful fairy that's just embracing the fate of her life, right? There is nothing, and I will repeat this again and again, and for myself, there is nothing you need to do, right? Because the fates are aligned. You are definitely, when you are allowing yourself to just be a person, everything comes to you. You don't need to look for it. You have the inner guidance, right? And sometimes when we question that, that's immaturity coming up, right? So ask yourself, am I aware of the fact that I question my intuition? Because you already know the answer. Like, you already know the answer. You know that you're golden. You know that the fates are aligning for you. But again, it comes from this knowing that you must release the chaos and conflict. You don't need to own it. You don't need to have this, you don't need to work 80 hours a week to say, I deserve peace. Right. So that's what I'm getting for my projectors. And allow yourself to be. There is nothing to do. You just need to be.
Interesting. So the first card that came up for me was the Queen of Cups in reverse. And I feel like this has got really like releasing vibes. So just releasing things. And that can be like physical things like decluttering. It can be expectations and shoulds. It can be like things on your to-do list, or it can be emotional things. I feel like there's just this general need to let go and create space, whether that is physical, energetic, emotional, whatever it is, just the letting go. And I know that sounds really, it sounds really flip and really easy, like, oh, just like release it, let it go. It's not. We all know it's not. It can be really challenging and really emotional. And if you're willing to go through that experience, then there's no stopping you. There's no like limits to what could happen next for you if you're willing to release these things that you've been carrying. And like I said, it can feel difficult because often these might be beliefs or ways of being that you've been carting around with you your whole life. Like Natalee said, you are learning how not to be a generator because this world was built for generators. Yeah. So give yourself a little bit of grace, but persevere, keep going, keep making it a priority to release what you don't need anymore. And it might have served you very well in the past, but you're good now. You don't need it. Which brings me on to the Six of Pentacles. And I feel like this is a very like fierce warrior kind of card. So there's like a tiger with eagle wings and it's all very like solar. And the hit that came in straight away is to think about your physiology and your stance and what you are saying with the way you hold yourself. So I don't know if you've heard about the superhero pose. Like there's the study where if you stand like a superhero for I think 5 minutes, so like chest out, arms back, then you just feel more confident, you feel more positive, you feel more unstoppable. Mm-hmm. And obviously that's just one example, but I think really thinking about how you carry yourself throughout your life and being mindful of that will make a big difference for you. So if you notice yourself like hunching over, and when you hunch over, it's like an unconscious protection of your heart and your stomach, which is obviously like where a lot of your vital organs are. And it's something we don't even think about in a conscious way. But when you hunch over, that's what you're doing. You're protecting yourself. You're not opening yourself up to receive what could be meant for you. So just pay attention to how you sit, how you stand, and choose to stand taller, to open yourself up, to let all the magic in. And then something else that stands out to me on this card. So he has tree roots growing out of his feet. So I think grounding is going to be really important for you. And I know my projectors are often very intuitive, very spiritual, very tapped into the magic and the woo, which is amazing. But sometimes it can lead you to feeling a little bit untethered, because you can sort of spiral off down the rabbit hole, learning more or downloading more, and you can feel very just floaty and like you're not really anchored in this life, and you're not really doing the doing. So just prioritizing grounding practices, whether that's something like meditation or hugging a tree or walking around in the grass, or just something that makes you feel in the 3D. Which brings me on to citrine, which I pulled for you. So this card says bring the light, and I feel like it goes perfectly with this one. It's like, I'm so sorry, my dog is playing behind me and making such a noise. So it's all about like allowing that sun, that masculine energy in. And we hear a lot about being more in the feminine and being more in flow, which is so, like, it is so important, but balance is the thing. Like, balance is actually the trick, because you see a lot of people talking about like disregarding all of the masculine paradigms and the masculine ways of being and blah, 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 blah. But masculine is the other side of the coin, and you need to be able to like celebrate and embrace both. And they'll come in degrees. So in some areas you'll be more in your like feminine flow and the creative and the receiving, and in some areas you'll have more of that fire, that action, that drive, and that's perfect. Like, and it's going to look different for everybody. People are going to show up in different ways, and that is how we were designed. We were designed to all be different. So don't just because you are this floaty, magical, intuitive being, don't decide that you need to reject the masculine, the structured, the doing, the action, because that is an important part of your nature too. You need to be able to be okay with all of your natural inclinations. So there you go, projectors. Okay, last but not least, let's look at our reflectors. So Natalie, go ahead.
Awesome. So let's see what is in store for our reflectors for January 2021. Very good. Very, very good. So the first card I'm getting here is why. Why? And the thing about reflectors is that you guys are so rare. You're like the very rare species, very rare bird. And you might be questioning to yourself, well, why can't I do things like everybody else? Why must I wait 28 days to make decisions? Why must I go through the cycle? And I think the key here, and what's really fascinating about this is that, like there's a book here with wings, right? And that's your curiosity. So allow your curiosity to lead you and allow yourself to go through the motions, because guess what? You are a mirror to everything that is going around you, right? But with that mirror is also sometimes, you have all these open centers. So you get to really tune into everything that's going on, but just allow your curiosity to blossom. Okay. And it's good to question. I think it's amazing to question, because when you have that awareness, you begin to know yourself more. So 28 days isn't really a long time, and really like pay attention to the lunar cycle and make sure that if it doesn't resonate with you in that lunar cycle, it doesn't resonate with you in that lunar cycle. That's okay. Like, we're not all meant to be in a box, because the second card is amazing. And this came out in reverse, and it is poised. Okay. And this is like this beautiful fairy with these stars there. And what I'm getting here is that, you are poised to just really, really enjoy the fact that you are such a mirror to the world, right? People look at you and they just grab, like, you don't need to really do anything. You have an idea, you have a divine download, and you're just poised for success. You're poised to do that. There is nothing for you to, a lot of times we're conditioned to be like, well, how? Well, embrace the fact that you're so special and rare, because you are here to be a changer in the world. And when you embrace that, it's really moving from, this really harsh, strict, regimented life that you've been probably taught to live in. Because the next card is so beautiful, and it's the yang, right? It's the yang card. And look at that. Like, it's just, I mean, like, what I'm getting from this is just, it's just pure magic, right? Allow yourself to be that magical being you are here to be. Not everybody gets you, but not everybody gets you, right? So, and the people who get you are going to get the best guidance, the best energy, because your energy is so sacred. Your energy is just so, again, like, it's just magic. Like, just know that the people, the situations, the opportunities that are gravitating towards you are because you are poised for that. There's nothing that you don't need to prove anything to anybody. So my reflectors, you have a lot of beautiful things coming in, and you are just a beautiful, magical soul. So I'm really getting that for you guys.
So the first card that I pulled for you is the 10 of Wands. And the word that just clicked into my brain right away is impatience. And I know quite a few reflectors, and that's fitting because they're all very impatient and they very much resist this needing to wait a lunar cycle to make decisions. So I just want to remind you that everyone else's timeline is not your timeline. And yeah, you can make the decision to move at the pace that you want. And if you try and force yourself to move too quickly before you know that something is fully aligned, then you are not going to get the outcome that you keep saying you want. So, as annoying as it might be, sometimes moving a little bit slower, playing the waiting game, giving yourself the time and space to figure things out properly behind the scenes before you take action publicly, will make you feel better in the long run. And again, like we've said this in other readings, the 3D world was created for the generators, and we are all trained to believe that that's how we're supposed to be showing up in the world, and we need to unlearn those behaviors bit by bit. So if you are feeling that frustration about things not happening quick enough, or like jealousy that you see things happening for other people that you want to happen for yourself, we're doing this gradually. We're dismantling things gradually. We are getting more in alignment. We're figuring out what works for us. And we are all doing that to various degrees. But for the reflectors in particular, this timepiece is such a common irritation. And that's something that you really need to figure out how you can make peace with, because it is how you were designed. That is just part of you. And you making it wrong and you fighting against it is, it's only hurting you. And then next we got the Hierophant in reverse. So the Hierophant is like the teacher of the deck. So when this card comes up, it's usually about like learning something or mastering a skill or going deeper with something. But in this case, because it came out reverse, I feel like this is your time to just stop. To stop with all the learning, stop with signing up for new things, stop like trying to source the answers outside of yourself. Because as a reflector, when you put yourself in other people's spaces, you just absorb everything from them. You absorb their ideas, you absorb their beliefs, you absorb their words, often unconsciously without realizing it. But what that does is it means that it clouds your truth and your message. It stops you from really being able to identify what it is that you believe and what it is that you want and what it is that you stand for. And sometimes you just need a break. You need to like take a pause from being around other voices, no matter how much you love those people, no matter how much they inspire you or they help you and support you in different ways. Sometimes you need that detox because it helps you really get crystal clear on what you want to create in the world, independent of other people's energy. Which leads me on to, of course, the perfect card, As You Write, which is all about getting laser focused. So this is about really like being discerning and decisive. And like I said, you will only be able to do that Number one, when you make peace with your own natural timeline. And number two, when you are brave enough to stop relying on support from others and training from others and the expertise of others, because you're all wise, like you've been doing this a while, you've been learning, you've been taking things in, soaking things in, so you have all of the resources you need for literally anything that you would want to create. So now is the time to just figure out what that thing is. Okay, so now we are just going to pull a few cards for the whole collective, for everybody, regardless of your type. So strap in and let's see what comes through.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and see what the collective needs to hear for January 2021. So, okay. So the first card we have is the Yin card. Okay, this is really, really interesting, and it's a fountain, right? It's just this fountain, and I feel like this is the fountain of where your opportunity lies. Like, I feel like what I'm getting right now is that, you know, like when you look at a fountain and you see your reflection, that is what I am really, really picking up from this. You know, tune into what you see in the mirror, you know, accept and allow yourself to, you know, embrace all that you are. Because when you do that, you get this card that says to be fair, right? You are balanced and you are fair with yourself. Okay. A lot of times we are not fair with ourselves in the sense that we don't respect our time, we don't respect our boundaries, we don't respect the things that we desire to bring in, we don't respect that. So, you know, look at yourself, look at that reflection. You know, it's a beautiful reflection, and allow yourself to accept being fair to yourself, because when you do that, okay, and this is an amazing card, it's just blessings. It literally says blessed, 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 blessed. But you must tune in to being righteous with yourself and having a balance of what you want to bring into your life. Because if you continue to accept the things that you don't want to accept, you are stopping yourself from receiving everything that the universe wants to give you. But the minute that you say, hey, I am balanced, I am fair with myself, I am fair with my time, I am fair with the resources I have, I am fair and true to me, that's it. Like, you're just like on this road to just being blessed. And I feel like this is a really great card for and a really great message for all of you to start the year off just really embracing those boundaries and those values that you have.
So the first card that I pulled was the Eight of Cups in reverse. And when I look at this, I just see the graffiti, like everywhere, graffiti everywhere, which immediately makes me think about creativity, but out of the box, and like doing things your way, and things that go against the grain, and things that might be frowned upon in certain circles, but really just do like creating the thing that you feel you need to put out in the world. And I think that's such an important stance to take as we step into this new year, this new age, this new unknown future. It's time to cast off the rules, cast off the expectations, and do things your way, do things the way that feels right, that feels like, and when I say feels, I mean actually feels, like physically feels, emotionally feels, energetically feels like the right move for you. Because there are always going to be rules and expectations and shoulds and right ways to do things, and you get to choose whether you listen to those things or not. I vote for not. And then second, I pulled the Queen of Swords in reverse. I feel like this is very much about feminine leadership and leading the charge and being the visionary and being brave enough to put yourself and your thoughts and your magic out there. And it can feel terrifying. It can. And I get that. I've always been like very shy, definitely an introvert, not comfortable always with being seen. And I also acknowledge how important it is to share my work with the world. And I want you to think about that your way too. So what is it that the world actually needs from you, and make a commitment to yourself to actually show up and do that. Because I can guarantee that no matter what your area of expertise, no matter what you do in your business, there is somebody out there who needs it. There is somebody out there whose life will be changed from coming into contact with you. And you're doing a disservice to them by not owning it and not showing up. And that brings me on to the final card, which is fluorite. And this is all about finding peace within. And you might think that that seems really disjointed, but actually it's not, because you will never be able to show up and lead and be a visionary if you are dealing with inner conflicts. Like if you're doubting yourself, if you are worried, if you are second guessing, if you are coming up with all of the reasons that things aren't going to work, if you're listening to your inner critic, then you are not going to be that beacon that the world needs. So my call to action for you is to think about what actually makes you feel peaceful. And this might require a little bit of exploration into the different realms of your life, but that's okay. You can take your time. This is not an overnight thing, but just really try and prioritize those practices that do make you feel that sense of peace and calm and centeredness. And that could be something as simple as doing like a 5-minute meditation whenever you start feeling a bit wobbly. It could be about building a journaling practice. It could be about investing in some kind of coaching or healing support. Like it's going to look different for everybody. So you get to choose what it looks like for you. But just know that if you are going to get out there and create the thing that needs to be created and lead in a way that you need to lead, then you also have to do that inner work. It's not a negotiable. Like that's something that needs to happen. So have fun with that. Okay, thank you so much for joining us today. Please go ahead and leave us a comment and let us know what you are taking away from your reading, because we want to know. Check out the description box for links to go find Natalee on Instagram. She's always sharing some great stuff in her stories. And of course, I will see you for our next reading next month.